So let's talk about a system that you can use to train your dog to pee and poop outside of your house in less than 4 days. Now, it took me, a first-time dog owner, and her, a puppy that had never been trained, grew up on a farm, peeing and pooping outside everywhere. It took us just over 3 days. It's going to take you a lot less because a big part of that 3 days was me researching stuff to do to get this sort of formula, if you will, down. So let's go ahead and address a couple things that you're going to see on the internet. The first thing is that I think it's for every month old that the puppy is, they can hold their pee for an hour. And that may be true for some puppies, it may be true for most puppies, but I would not plan your training around that for your puppy. The second thing is that you can put a puppy in a crate and sort of crate train them, because they will basically do anything to avoid peeing and pooping in their own crate. So first of all, it's not very nice to keep an animal in a crate all day. But second of all, they will pee and poop in their crate, because each crate bed has a little rim around it, elevated rim. They can pee and poop over there and be away from it, or they can pee and poop on the far end of the crate, and then just kind of curl themselves up and still be away from it. So yeah, they don't really like to pee and poop in a crate, but they will. And it's not really the best form of training, because what you're doing is you're trying to implement a schedule, but you're not really teaching the dog that, okay, this is the home, you do not pee and poop in the home, you pee and poop outside the home, okay? So with that said, there's a couple things you have to do groundwork wise first, okay? So number one, you are, like, these 4 days, you are full time on this, so clear your calendar. So if you do it, let's say, over a Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, right, take off work on Thursday and Friday. Anything else that you might have to do, get it done beforehand, do it afterwards, but you are full time. Basically, you're sleeping when she's sleeping. The second thing you want to do is you want to make arrangements to pick up this puppy first thing in the morning, or as early as you can. Even if that means you have a drive, say, and you're going to stay overnight, like at a hotel close by, then do that. Because what you don't want to have happen is you don't want to come back. The dog came from a farm, it's got fleas, it's got ticks, it's smelly, it hasn't been combed or bathed, and now there's things in your house, it's the middle of the night, and you're worried about getting all this stuff done, and you have no idea how to do it because you're a first-time dog owner, right? We avoid that situation by picking her up first thing in the morning. You have all day. Now, before you pick her up, you're doing a couple things. You're going to make arrangements with a pet shop to get her scheduled for a bath. And I mean a full grooming, combing to get rid of the excess fur, defleeing, de-ticking, the whole bit, right? To make sure that, however long it takes, that dog comes out, it's been washed, it's got, the fur is cleaned up, and it's got no more fleas, got no more ticks. In fact, if you can, make a vet appointment too, because you're going to need that initial checkup. And so when you make that appointment, you're taking her from that pet store to the veterinary clinic, and they're checking her out, and all that's getting done before you bring the dog back into your house. Okay? And you have the time to do that if you pick up the dog early in the morning. If you don't do that early in the morning, you can't possibly get all that stuff done in the evening because places are closed. And now you're sitting here. Okay. The next thing you want to do is you want to contact the seller and make sure you get the exact brand and type of food that dog is eating, because you don't want to vary that diet even slightly, because sometimes the slightest variation in diet is going to cause a massive diarrhea. And you're already going to have your hands full trying to get everybody on a schedule. The last thing you need to do is deal with diarrhea in the mix, because then it throws off the frequency, it's messy, and it's disgusting. So do those things a priori. Now that you've done all this in mise en place, you're ready to bring the dog home. So you go get the dog, assume she's just had a meal and some water, right? So maybe 15, 20 minutes into the drive, you take her out because she's not really likely to pee or poop in the car. It's kind of a confined space, there's people there. 15, 20 minutes later, take her out, kind of walk around in a grassy area, let her a rest stop or whatever, and see if she can pee or poop. And ideally you want to stay there. Remember, we're budgeting a full 4 days for this. You want to stay there until she pees or poops. As soon as she pees or poops outside, big treat, big reward. Make sure she knows this is a good thing. All right. Now you've taken her. After that, you've taken her to, and do this every like 20 minutes. Now you've taken her to see the vet, get herself cleaned up at the pet shop. Now you're bringing her home. It's late afternoon, early evening, but you've got a fresh, ready to go dog. Now we're going to start the process. Okay. The good thing that's in your favor is puppies sleep a lot, and like I said, you're going to sleep when she's sleeping. That puppy goes to sleep, you're sleeping. It doesn't matter where. Bring a pillow with you, bring some blankets. You crawl up next to her because as soon as she gets up, she's going outside. Now, the going outside part, you're going to do a couple things. You're going to have some treats with you. You're going to put a set of bells on the door so that anytime you guys are going outside, the bell gets rang so she knows, okay, going outside, going to have a pee or a poop. You have a treat, you have a clicker, and you go out. And when you go out there, and then it's going to start like every 15 minutes until you can get an idea of her schedule. You go out there, as soon as she pees or poops outside, like I said, big celebration, give her treats, pet her, tell her what a great dog she is, do the clicker, etc. Okay? Now, there's going to, especially initially, there's going to be a couple accidents. Don't punish the dog for the accident necessarily, but take her to the accident, show her so she's clearly seeing the accident, point to it, and give a firm no. So she knows that that is not good. And they kind of get the word no, right? So again, walk her to it, point to no. Very firm no. That's it. No need for a punishment or anything severe. Now, you're going to do this until you get, every 15, 20 minutes, until you get a feel for how often she goes. Because basically, you're trying to get in tune with the dog's body. She's trying to get in tune with her body and her environment. And so now you're going to set a feeding schedule. And depending on the breed, the size, blah, 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 the age, there's going to be a certain feeding schedule. So let's say it's 1 scoop every 5 hours, so there's like 3 a day, okay? And then there's water with each of those feedings. Well, we can do that schedule, but then you'll kind of get a feel for knowing, okay, after that first morning feeding of a scoop of food and some water, in about 20 minutes, she's going to pee and poop. And after that, let's say the third feeding of the day, she's going to pee and poop. But in between, she's probably just going to have 1 pee between feedings. And now you're on a schedule, and you know that schedule. For a while, I would not vary the food because you risk diarrhea. And also don't give her like too many like different treats. Just stick to the one treat. So do not vary the food, and also do not vary too much from that schedule. Okay. Now, after that second, third day, she's going to clearly start to understand, okay, I'm not supposed to poop or pee in here. I need to go out there. And that dog is going to start ringing that bell every time she needs to go out. And at that point, you're done. Because the whole point of the training is to communicate to her, this is where you don't pee and poop, that's where you go to pee and poop. And the way she tells you is by ringing the bell. And by around the second or third day, she's going to start ringing that bell. If there's an accident, if she rang the bell and there's an accident, that's on you because you didn't go to the bell, open the door, take her out, etc. All right. There may be a couple accidents here and there where maybe she didn't ring the bell or she couldn't hold it or whatever else. But those are going to be very few and far between. By and large, she will be trained. And that's how you do it in less than 4 days.